It did it to me again. It froze
That's
the
so
intro
weird.
video.
It used to do that for me, but it hasn't for a while. That's really weird.
Looks like we're good though. I was checking YouTube.
Sweet.
All right, what's up, everybody? We are live finally. Sorry for the little delay. Having a little bit of a technical issue with our guest, but want to go ahead and get started on here, and hopefully he'll be popping in here very, very soon. Um, so, welcome everyone to Kiss Meets the Podcast 4K, the Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown. You wanted the best. I am one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I am Luke, and with another word on the end. That's because it's my last name.
And welcome to this first time live show, or not first time live, first time late night show, if you will, even though it's only 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, but definitely earlier than what we usually do the show, or later than what we see. I'm freaking tired. I'm going to bed. Bye.
Yes, Eli.
Anyway, later than what we usually do the show. It's been a long time. We used to do the show around this time in the early days, but of course we weren't live then. So this is kind of another first here for us. So pretty cool. Hopefully we'll see some more faces in here since people aren't rushing home from work at our usual time that we go live. So yeah, so we're hoping to have some fun here. This week's episode is, of course, Animalize, and we are awaiting our special guest to join us any minute, and we'll talk more about his history and also his book that's out there. We'll just say that for now. You guys might know already if you've been watching recently, but I'm pretty excited to finally have him on the show. Hopefully he's able to join us and gets talking to him. So, all right. So hope everyone's doing great. Friday night. And so I guess we'll just go ahead and get into our usual comments and polls and everything. And hopefully we'll be ready to roll and have our guests with us before we're ready to get into the album. So I guess also might as well mention we found out today that the Paul Stanley Soul Station album is being dropped in March. I forget the exact date now, but they've definitely started the promotion. You can already pre-order it. They dropped the first official single, the cover of Ooh Child. And we've heard some snippets of other songs, but this is like the first official release single. So I kind of dug it. It wasn't too horrible. I've always been a fan of that song in general, especially the original by the Five Stair Steps, and I thought it was cool. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing the rest of the album. I plan on pre-ordering it, or just once it drops I'll go buy it. But I don't know. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was very impressed with the production. It makes me wish we could have a Kiss album with with that level of production, especially the drums. That's something you and I were talking about earlier. For the style of music this is, I thought the drums sounded just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
My one issue with the song that's been released so far, though, is just the amount of auto-tune on Paul's voice. It was the same issue that I took with the couple of songs that Evan Stanley has put out recently, where, man, there's just no way they needed that level. This song, I don't know that I've ever heard more auto-tune on a voice if it wasn't like an intentional effect. It almost sounded robot-y, and I was like, come on, he doesn't need that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the rest of the album isn't like that. And we were talking earlier, is like, thankfully it's not as bad on the level of Sonic Boom and Monster. And again, it's like, yes, I know those are different. It's a different type of singing and all that stuff. And he's not trying to be the Kiss Paul Stanley on this album, which is good. I mean,
yeah,
I like. This is kind of like up the alley of when we would talk about Peter, like how I wish Peter would put out like an all like jazz album. So this is kind of up that same alley, just Paul doing it, but more of the soul stuff, and and I like a lot of that stuff anyway. So that's one reason I'm drawn to it, and I'm hoping they can somehow maybe do a little tour with this thing, and I would love to go see it.
Definitely, definitely. They uploaded a little behind the scenes documentary to their YouTube channel today too. Super interesting. If any of you guys didn't catch that, go take a look at that too. It's really interesting to get a look in the studio, and they talked to Eric Singer a little bit. They talked to his guitarist and his backup singers a little bit, and again he sings a little bit in there. Just they're filming him and he's singing arrangements and stuff to him. He sounds fine. Sounds totally great.
Yeah, I'll have to catch that. I don't think I've seen it yet, but
Yeah.
that was something else I mentioned is I thought it was also kind of fun to listen to the drums and hearing Eric playing some different stuff, because all we've ever really heard Eric play all through his whole career is the harder rock stuff, which he's obviously good at. But it was cool. It's cool to hear him play this kind of stuff, and dare I say, like, it almost sounds like he was having a little more fun playing that stuff than what it sounded on the last two Kiss albums and everything. I mean, it just sounded like he was right there in the pocket and just really enjoying it. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing the rest of the album for that aspect too. Just hearing how Eric plays that stuff.
Absolutely. They mentioned in that behind the scenes documentary that he played big band style music with his dad, which I had never heard before. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I think his dad was into all that stuff when he was growing up. Because in Cleveland, I think his dad worked at like a drum shop or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. Once we get some people in here, I'd like to hear your guys' opinions and thoughts on the Soul Station stuff too, and we can definitely bounce back to that later on. But we'll just keep on moving and get into our polls and comments and everything, and see what's up. You have a monster beside you.
Getting some stretch grunting going on over here.
You about to drop a deuce.
Yeah, I hope not. He already did that. He dropped plenty. All right, so we got several comments on last week's episode, the Lick It Up episode. Also, man, I just saw happen. We are at 299 subscribers. Who's going to be lucky 300?
Very cool, man. We appreciate that. Again, we talked about our little goal for the year a couple weeks ago, so we appreciate that. Please keep spreading the word, and let's get it there and even beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Let's see. Our first comment is from Chuck McFarland. He gave us his rankings for Lick It Up. He ranked the album a 9 out of 10 overall, and his top 3 were All Hell's Breaking Loose, Exciter, and A Million to One in the number 1 spot.
Nice.
Yeah. Also got a comment from Thomas, Rain in Adamstown. Thomas says, yesterday I heard 2 to 3 songs of every studio album from the debut until Unmasked, and I must say I love all except Destroyer. Then I put The Elder on my turntable, and yes, this is my favorite album to listen to in its entirety. Next, wow. I did the same with the albums from Creatures to Monster, but no song from Psycho Circus because this is a poopy album. That's verbatim, word for word, poopy is what he put. He says, that brings us to your Creatures episode. It's still a perfect 10 for me. My top 3 I chose were... oh, boy. He's got Killer in 3rd place, Creatures in 2nd place, and War Machine in 1st. He says, love the Lick It Up album too. A very good 9 this time. Don't want to rate all the songs again, but my top 3 yesterday were All Hell's in 3rd place, On the 8th Day in 2nd place, and Not for the Innocent in 1st place.
Nice.
If you think about it, you can come to the conclusion that Lick It Up is even heavier than the predecessor. One last thing, when I saw the sound check of Dubai, I realized how much I long for Kiss concerts without makeup. Sick and tired of the big show. Back to the music, please.
Yeah, I think at this point, I would be okay with that too. We've talked about this in the past too. Like I'd be fine even if they did like a freaking acoustic tour or something. Just strip it down.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I would absolutely love to see like a Revenge era no makeup reunion, just a little mini tour. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, there's part of me that kind of misses. Like it's weird because like during the non-makeup. We were missing the makeup era. But now that it's been so long, it's like there's part of me that does kind of miss the non-makeup stuff at this point. And, watching some of those old performances recently, it's just like, I kind of miss that because, they had the attitude and, all that. So looks like our guest may be joining us.
Ooh, awesome.
Yo. Anthony.
All right, you guys hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Let me see. I can't hear you.
What's
the problem now?
All right, well, we can continue on for the moment here.
Indeed.
Where did we leave off? I forget now.
Right. So that was Thomas's comment, and I did get his and Chuck's Lick It Up rankings put in. That did change just a little bit. We kept the 8.3 rating. It did change our top 4, actually. Now we've got Lick It Up, the title track, has gone down to 5th place, dropped out of the top 4. All Hell's Breaking Loose actually jumped up to 3rd place from 5th place, okay. And that knocked Fits Like a Glove down to 4th place from 3rd. So Fitz still in the top 4 at least. We also got a comment from Robbie Stars, who gave us his rankings for Animalize, which I did put in. Those will be counted in to today's rankings. And he says, Animalize is one of my favorite Kiss albums. I love that glammy heavy metal era, and the album is hot, heavy, loud, and definitely high energy, flowing through the whole album with no ballads, thank you. Some of my favorite Gene songs are on here, and Paul's songs are downright nasty and great. Michael James Jackson's did the drum mix before he left for another commitment, and that's why the drums are killer. The guitars are crazy, wild, and fun. Animalize is my second favorite non-makeup album behind another one that's weeks away for you guys to review yet. I rank this 9.5.
Can you hear us now, Anthony?
I can hear you guys clearly.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, we got it figured out.
Well, all right, let's take a quick sidestep here and we'll introduce our guest. So you guys have heard us promote the book, Kiss My Black Ass by Mr. Anthony X. Well, here he is with us. Welcome, man.
Hey, it's great to be on the show, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I'm just I'm a fan of the show. There's a lot of Kiss podcasts out there. You guys were a little bit different than everyone else. I probably give the other guys probably 3 or 4 listens and kind of just move on to something else. But you guys, I just held on to because I like the way you guys critique things, you talk about things, your open-mindedness, and for young guys, you're pretty smart. You're pretty smart for young guys, Kiss fans. I mean, I got Kiss fans older than me that don't know half the stuff you guys know or can give that Kiss knowledge, that insight like you guys do. So,
yeah, I appreciate it, man. Like, reading your book, man, I felt some connections. Like the way you think is kind of similar to the way I think when it comes to a lot of that Kiss stuff. And you would talk about how when you was getting ready to go to a show and you were just convinced that something was going to happen to ruin the show and things like that. And it's like, I feel you, man.
Yeah, Kiss fan paranoia is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. When I wrote that book, really, I just wrote it just to get this stuff out of my head because, as a Kiss fan, you got all that stuff in your head, all these ideas and things you remember and memories. So it was really just a way to get it all out. I didn't really expect the response I got, but they were going to receive it. But I haven't heard nothing bad about it. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back, but I think the reason fans like yourselves relate to it, because I think, like you said, it reminds you a lot of you, things you can relate to. I just talk about growing up in the 70s or late 70s, early 80s, being a Kiss fan in that era, what it meant to me. So I'll say this. I've been the only Kiss fan. I guess, let me backtrack. Growing up as a kid, I thought I was the only Kiss fan in the world like I was really passionate about the band and obsessed. Yes, there were other fans and people that liked Kiss, but I thought I was the only one who was. No one liked Kiss the way I did, and no one saw the band the way I did. And
Right.
I felt like that for years. Even as an adult, I'm like, yeah, you're a Kiss fan. You've been more conscious than I have. You got more Kiss merchandise than I have, but you're not a Kiss fan like me. That was always my attitude, not to be snobbish, but as you get older, you realize that's not the truth. Kiss fans are there's millions of them, and people love them for different reasons. They have their own special way of how they see the band, and
Absolutely.
I'm just one grain of salt out of many. So
See, that's what I mean. Like there was a long time where I felt like I was just in it by myself. Like none of my friends liked Kiss. I always just felt kind of like a
hold on, I
misfit.
lost you. I lost your voice. Let's see
Can you
what's
hear me now?
happening here. I don't know.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
We turned into a Verizon commercial. Wow.
Check. Hello?
You hear me now?
Yeah, you got me?
Yep, we can hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No?
Dang it.
Well, if you can hear me, just go ahead and do your show, and I'll just see if this thing kicks back on.
All right, yeah, we can kind of jump back and forth. And
I'm gonna log out and see if it lets me back on.
okay. All right, yeah, we'll just sorry guys, we're just gonna be kind of jumping back and forth right now, but we'll definitely do some more talking with Anthony and his fandom. So
Absolutely. Longtime viewers of the show will know that technical malfunctions that's like our forte. That's
right.
our corner of the ring. Nobody else can have it. We got the monopoly on it, so it's all good. So we got one more comment we'll do real quick from Ronnie Parker. Ronnie says, "What a great album! I remember when Lick It Up came out and the song Lick It Up hit MTV and the radio waves. I am puzzled why the cover is so badly photoshopped. Paul's upper body is one way and his lower body is angled a different direction. I'm sure we all have seen other pics of the Lick It Up photo sessions that look way better. Keep rocking, Space Ace Ron."
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know Anthony says this in his book. There's a lot of the covers that like they could have used a better photo of, like from the photo sessions that we've seen. It's like there's so many different photos, and why did so many albums just have a plain background, back cover, and nothing but text, things like that.
Right.
And it looks like he's coming back. All right, there you are. You think you good? Can you hear me?
I hope I can hear you.
Sweet.
All right, yeah. We'll just go ahead and
Okay.
continue and finish up with these comments and stuff, and then we'll get back and do some more talking here.
Okay.
Yep. Actually, Ronnie's comment was all for all of that.
Real quick, Anthony, we have a comment here for you from one of our buddies, Robbie Stars. He says, "Your book brought back awesome memories. Yep, I thought I was the only Kiss fan as a kid collecting magazines and other things, but learned many Kiss fans were everywhere."
Thank you, Robbie. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the book. Thank you for buying it, and just thank you. Seriously, I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Robbie Stars. I see that name around a lot, like in the comment sections of Kiss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously he's a celebrity in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's become a good friend
So
of
to hear
ours.
so to hear someone like him, get props like that, that's touching.
Yeah,
that means a lot. Appreciate that.
That's another hardcore Kiss fan right there that you just got that plug from. So
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Definitely. You want to talk about polls real quick?
Yeah, let's knock the polls out, and then we'll jump back and do some more talking here.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. My Pages app seems to have closed the page on me. We'll get that pulled back up. Here we go. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, we are conducting a huge Every Kiss Song tournament, putting everything head to head just to see what comes out as the top rated Kiss song for all of us. It's been going on for a while now. It's been a lot of fun seeing weird song matchups, and we're actually getting close to the finale of this tournament. This week we posted the semifinal round, so next week is going to be the final, and we'll get to finally see how this all wraps up. What you can do, because we do want as many votes as possible, and actually this last round got more votes than we've seen in a long time. So thank you everybody that jumped in there and voted. If you would like to get in on this, you can jump over to Facebook and search Kiss Meets the Podcast. Hit like on our Facebook page if you would. We'd really appreciate it. We're getting building a bigger and bigger community. It's been awesome to see. For some reason, we were posting these polls, and then right around the election time, Facebook shut down polls, and now you can only post them in groups. So check out Kiss Meets the Podcast group. You do have to request access to join, but we accept everybody. So throw your request in there. We'll get you in. We are posting all the polls in that group. And again, we want as many votes as possible. And when this wraps up next week, we're going to start right up a brand new tournament with all of the live versions of the songs this time instead of studio versions. So don't feel like you've missed out or anything. Definitely jump in there and join in on the fun. So last week, we posted all of round 6, 5 matches for round 6. We're getting really down to the nitty gritty with only the hard choices left. The following is the results from last week. We posted Unholy versus Creatures of the Night, and Creatures of the Night took that with 60% of the vote. We had She versus Deuce. Deuce takes that with 68%. We had Detroit Rock City versus Come On and Love Me. Detroit takes that with 75%. We had Love Gun versus Shock Me. This one was really close. Love Gun ended up taking that with 58%.
Wow.
Yeah, I really thought that was going to go the other way. I was surprised there. And finally, we had God of Thunder versus 100,000 Years, both of which were second chance songs, meaning that those songs had been voted out, but through some special rounds we conducted where we would take top rated songs that had been knocked out and put them back in the ranking. Both of these were second chance songs, and they were neck and neck. They were almost a tie. God of Thunder ended up taking this with 51%. Just barely scratching through. So if you go over to Facebook and give these a vote right now, what you can vote on is round 7. This is the semifinal round. And we did this round a little different than the past rounds because there were 5 songs. All 5 of them are posted in one match. So you can pick one of the 5 winners that I just mentioned. It's Creatures of the Night, Deuce, Detroit Rock City, Love Gun, and God of Thunder. And the top 2 songs of that are going to be what moves into the final round. So it'll be very interesting to see what gets knocked out. I just looked at this right before we started filming, and somehow Detroit Rock City only has 1 vote right now. So who saw that coming? Be curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, Deuce only had 1 when I looked earlier.
Yes, right at the moment, Creatures was in the lead with, I think, 8 votes. The other 3 all had 4 votes apiece, and then Detroit had 1. So definitely jump in there and turn the tide for your favorites.
Set the demon free.
Yes.
What were the 5 songs again?
It was Creatures of the Night, Deuce, Love Gun,
Deuce,
Detroit Rock City,
Love Gun,
and God of Thunder.
God of Thunder. More of the core stuff, obviously. So I'm gonna go right now and just say Deuce and get it over with.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the live version though, Deuce. So that's what I'm going for.
Oh, okay. So he's giving us a pre-vote for the next tournament that we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to see how this all goes down. Of course, I think we all expect one of the obvious ones to win, but it's been interesting to see. Like, for example, Exciter beat Lick It Up in round one, and I don't think I would have guessed. I voted for Exciter myself, but I didn't expect it to win, you know?
I would, from the hardcore fans, I'd expect them to choose Exciter. I'd choose Exciter over Lick It Up.
Right.
Love Lick It Up, but I love Exciter more. So I'd expect that from the hardcore fans. Yeah.
Right.
Robbie
Now,
Starr.
if it was like,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if it was like Give Me More, if it was Give Me More against Lick It Up, that'd be questionable. I like Give Me More better, of course, but it'd still be questionable.
Right.
Robbie Stars again says, thanks, Anthony. I like to talk Kiss way too much. I guess especially with a great podcast like this, you can speak your mind about the band. What is your favorite Kiss album?
Lick It Up, hands down. Lick It Up. My favorite album is Lick It Up. My second is Asylum. Sometimes I listen to Asylum and it kind of creeps up on Lick It Up just a little bit, but then it goes back down. But Lick It Up.
Yeah.
Nice.
He said, don't say Peter Criss.
Well, he said what?
He said, don't say Peter Criss's solo album.
Hey, there's a time and place for that too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
it's a good album.
To give you guys a little heads up what's going on with me, because I had my little mishaps here. I'm holding my phone and I got headphones on, so I can hear you guys clearly. I can see you guys clearly. My old phone is a little spiderwebbed on the screen because I broke it.
Okay.
But this is why the phone is moving a little bit. So I'll be ready next time. But anyway.
Oh, that's all good. So, so for those that haven't read your book yet, which again we highly recommend, you really should get it. If you don't mind, maybe give us like a little, I don't know, a brief explanation of how you became a Kiss fan, and yeah, kind of a don't spoil it because they can get the rest in the book, but
yeah. My sister had a friend stay over, and she brought some albums with her, and I was a little kid, 4 years old, and they went to the store to get some ice cream with my mom, and I went through some of her records, and I saw this album with some guys with weird faces and these outfits, and they were holding guitars, and there's a drum set on the album cover. It looked really weird to my young mind. I'd never seen nothing like this at this age, and I can't tell you why. I just took it and I put it under my mattress. And every couple of days, I'd pull it out and just stare at it for about a good hour, and then put it back under the mattress. And then finally, well, I wouldn't say every couple of days, wasn't that long. But anyway, so I asked my mom if she played for me, and she never asked me where I got the album. She never asked me who are these guys. She just put the needle on and left the room. And I heard Deuce. Of course, I didn't know it was Deuce, but I just heard Deuce. You put on the back and you got it. And I was like, wow, this is okay, great. Just to be clear, I'm not a rock fan. I don't know nothing about rock music. I don't claim to. I'm an R&B fan, old school R&B. But Kiss has always been my number one music group of all time. Everything else falls under that umbrella, regardless of what I like and what I do. Kiss is always number one.
Right.
So, I'm a rapper. Don't do it much nowadays, but I've done it for 20 years, and I like doing rap music and R&B and things like that. So, but I've always just had a passion for Kiss, just because of that first day when I got that album and I saw those faces. And from there, it was, I wanted anything and everything to do with Kiss. When the commercials came on TV, the solo albums, the Kiss toys, I'd freak out because it was Kiss. Kiss to me wasn't really a rock band. For other people, for older guys, they might have been a rock band that played guitars and things like that, made rock music. For me, they were just the entity and the presence and the idea of Kiss is what excited me.
Right.
And of course, as you get older, you love the music and you appreciate the music more and things like that. But Kiss could have made a Christmas album in the 70s. They could have made a country album. It would have been, as long as Kiss was on it, Kiss did, it would have been all good to me. That's what I'm saying. They could have made a Partridge Family type of album. It would have been all good to me, as long as it was Kiss. So I just carried that love that passion since I was a kid up into my adulthood. So.
And for those that don't know, you grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, correct?
Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah, Anchorage,
That's
Alaska.
right. And it's funny because I used to live by what used to be called the Fireway Theater when I was coming up, where Kiss played in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times I'd walk that parking lot, and I didn't know Kiss had played there. That's where Kiss played. I didn't learn that until I was an adult.
Oh,
So I guess what I'm saying is all that time I'd walk that ground and didn't know I was walking on sacred ground. You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
yeah,
So now I'm like, what was the stage set up and what direction were they facing? I was trying to figure all that stuff out, but
yeah. I
Definitely.
love it, man. It's that minutia,
yeah. Like I said, in Anchorage there wasn't really a lot of Kiss fans in Anchorage. Well, there just weren't Kiss fans in Anchorage. You had bandwagon fans and you had fair weather fans and things like that, but there just wasn't really no passionate Kiss fans is where I'm really getting at. So I guess again, I was the only one. So
Now, you mentioned about you being a rapper, and I know you talked a lot in the book about how you would try to sample certain Kiss elements, but you would usually not have any luck. Did you ever end up having any luck with any of that?
oh yeah, probably about 30, maybe over 30 samples of Kiss I've done, and a lot of that
Is
stuff is
that
just on cassette tapes in different states where I got stuff
oh,
stored,
okay?
family members and things like that. But yeah, I'm proud of that work. A lot of that stuff came out. I did a song called "Take It Off," and told the girl to take it off. I'm going to seduce you and all that stuff. And I used that got a thunder sample. Okay, y'all can start singing, and it was just funky as hell.
Awesome.
That was
You
going
said
to
that,
be my
okay,
next.
y'all can start.
That was going to be my next question. Is that stuff anywhere that we can hear it? Because I definitely would like to hear it myself. But so
Yeah, no, all cassettes, and once
yeah,
I get it, I will put on YouTube. I've been saying that for the past 3 years. I just never got around to it.
yeah. Well, I for one am definitely would like to hear it. So if you ever get around to it,
The only thing I got on me right now that I'm my favorite thing to collect is Kiss posters. So
mm.
the number one thing that I keep with me at all time is my Kiss posters. I care less. You can burn everything else. You can't burn it, but I'm just saying, don't touch my Kiss posters because I always collect Kiss posters. And right now, I got tons of tubes filled
There you
with at
go.
least 30 Kiss posters each. And I'm always lugging things around. But yeah, that's my favorite thing to collect is Kiss posters. That's my passion when it comes to Kiss. Not toys, not albums, because every Kiss collector is different. Some collect T-shirts. I just love Kiss posters, and that's my passion.
Okay. Robbie here says he says cool that you're an R&B fan. You have to love Unmasked then. A few tunes on there like Easy as It Seems and What Makes the World Go Round have that feel to them. One of his favorite studio albums.
Easy as It Seems, it's funny that you say that because I didn't actually start liking that song till maybe about a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah.
And what I mean is I always liked the song, but
Mm-hmm.
to me now it's like this is great. You know what I'm saying? Because I had it playing in the right system and that bass was hitting doom 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 doom. I'm like, damn, that's funky as hell. It didn't click before, but now it's just yeah. Um, there's a great I don't know who these guys are. I think they're from another country, but they're doing an acoustic set of Easy as It Seems, and they did a really good job on it. I can't remember. It's on YouTube, but it's an acoustic, and this guy, his voice is great. He's just go check it out. It's an acoustic Easy as It Seems. You'll find it if you just search it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things we talk about all the time is how a certain song is going to hit you differently than what it did say a month ago or even 10 years, whatever the case. And that's obviously the case with you. It's been the case with me. I'm sure it's been the case with Lou.
Yep.
Everybody.
Yeah, yeah. That's the way you guys critique albums and songs. It's amazing to hear you guys say, "Well, this week I feel this way, but in a couple of weeks it might change."
Mm-hmm.
That does happen a lot. Well, let me back up. That doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. For the most part, as I get older, I get kind of set in my ways when it comes to Kiss songs and albums and music. But having said that, I do find myself changing my mind about things from time to time.
Right.
So I'm on record as saying I'm still on record as saying Paul's solo album, his 7 Days solo album, is still my least favorite.
Thank you.
But as the years go by, I do tend to appreciate it more as the years go by. But it's still number 4 in the ranking of solo albums, So
see, man, we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, it was separated at birth, I guess.
There you go.
No. You're not going to feel that way when we talk about revenge. You're not going to feel that way.
I already read that chapter, man.
No, just go ahead.
Are there anything?
Yeah, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
All right, I was just going to ask, like, since you wrote the book, now of course I haven't finished it yet. I'm on the Sonic Boom chapter, so I'm just about there. But a lot of the stuff that you have your opinion with, be it the songs or the albums or whatever. Is there anything that you can maybe think off the top of your head, like maybe the most, the first thing that comes to mind that maybe your train or your opinion has changed since what you wrote in the book?
That's a damn good question. Yeah, there are things where I thought sometimes I will go through the book and I say, you know what, I don't feel strongly maybe about that part as I did when I wrote it. Not try to be cute, but probably revenge. So yeah, I would probably say it was revenge, where your taste waver a little bit, and with revenge it's kind of gone more on the downslope since I wrote the book a little bit more. So, and I'm not going to beat that topic up right now.
Yeah. So actually,
I will say this:
you dislike it more now than you did when you wrote the book.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean I dislike it. Yeah.
Right.
And I always say there's not a Kiss song and there's not a Kiss album that I don't like. I'll beat it up to death and talk bad about it, but I always like it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. I think You Wanted the Best is a stupid Kiss song. I think it's really dumb, but I will sing it loud in the car when it's playing, and better days, and all that. I will sing along with it. So it's kind of like it's kind of like saying, I can call my little brother a butthead, but you better not call him a butthead. One of those things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, as much as we could sit here and, we like to rat on, I finally found my way all the time. But at the same time, we'll turn around and say, well, there is a cool part in that song, though, because it's almost Beatle-ish. And, so, yeah, we like to have fun with certain songs and topics, but, at the same time, we do appreciate them at the same time.
I think we talked a bit about that last week near the end, too. I think I'm quote unquote famous now for hating the song "Talk to Me," but honestly, I don't hate it. I think I mentioned last week, like if I were banished to an island and I could only listen to one song for the rest of my life, all I was allowed to take is one song, I would still take "Talk to Me" over most of the other music I've heard in my life.
Yeah, and when you said before in a past show that you thought it was the Unmasked show, I believe, when you said it was the chorus was redundant. Naturally, I started singing it in my head. Talk to me, and I didn't feel that way about it. I didn't feel it was redundant. You got good redundant, and you got bad redundant. But to me, that was a kind of a good redundant for me. But I understand how you feel about that, though.
Yeah. One of those many songs where they.
Shame on you for hating "Talk to Me," though. Anyway.
That's fair.
No, I'm just joking. Now, what were you gonna say, though? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no problem at all. Yeah, I think, and we might talk about this again on today's episode. Songs where the chorus is just the title of the song over and over tend to get on my nerves a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think the most redundant chorus probably in Kiss's catalog, off the top of my head, would be "Love 'Em and Leave 'Em."
Definitely the same thing.
Leave 'em. Yeah. That's more beat up than "Talk to Me," off the top of my head. There could be something else out there I'm not thinking about, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice too, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's get back on track here, and we'll definitely do some more talking once we get done with the album here. But are we ready to get into the album info and everything?
Yep, I am ready.
All right, let's go.
Sweet. All right. So, Animalize, of course, is the 12th studio album by Kiss. This album was released September 17th, 1984, one of the many, many Kiss albums released in September. This was recorded throughout May and July of 1984. This was recorded at Right Track Studios in New York. Produced by Paul Stanley, although we've recently found out that Michael James Jackson did have his hand in this. In the interviews at the Indianapolis Kiss Expo he did a couple of years ago, we heard him say that he was there for the drums, which Robbie Stars also backed that up in a comment we read earlier. Interestingly, too, Michael said that he seems to remember Vinnie Vincent being present at the very beginning of the sessions, which is kind of an interesting thing. I don't recall having seen that information anywhere else. Curious then what role he may have played, or if maybe Michael was remembering that incorrectly. Either way, an interesting thought. This was, of course, the only appearance by lead guitarist Mark St. John, who replaced Vinnie shortly after the album began. Actually, according to Wikipedia, Vinnie officially left in April, and the album didn't start till May. So who knows? Wikipedia is wrong more often than the source. So Mark, unfortunately, wasn't really able to do much after recording this album. We probably all know this. He played 2.5 shows before he was unable to play anymore. He was diagnosed with reactive arthritis shortly before the tour started. His left hand puffed up, his left knee puffed up, and it took him quite a long time to get back to the point that he could play. I don't remember now. Eli, do you remember? We reviewed the White Tiger album that Mark played. Was that before or after his time in Kiss?
I believe it was after, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like maybe 86 or something like that.
Yeah, I just remember. I remember it being pretty horrible.
Yeah. His playing's still fine, but the production and the songs were all horrible. This album is also famous for being one of the first where fans started to question what in the hell was going on with Gene. Apparently, Gene was at odds with the bands for a lot of reasons at this point. This is right around the time he started producing Black and Blue, Tommy Thayer's band, and also I believe he was filming the movie Runaway at the time that this album was being recorded as well. So pretty much left Paul to take care of everything. As far as personnel, we've got Paul Stanley, lead vocals, rhythm guitar, and bass on I've Had Enough Into the Fire. Gene Simmons, lead vocals and bass. Eric Carr, drums, percussion, and backing vocals. Mark St. John, lead guitar. We've also got Bruce Kulick, who played lead guitar on Lonely as the Hunter and Murder in High Heels. Gene Bouvier, who played bass on Get All You Can Take, Under the Gun, and Thrills in the Night. Desmond Child, backing vocals. Alan Schwartzberg, drum overdubs, and Mitch Weissman, guitar overdubs. Mitch also co-wrote several of the songs on this album. This album did get up to 19 on the U.S. Billboard 200 and has been certified platinum.
Darn. I was hoping it was gold.
I'll tell you something about Animalize real quick. After Dynasty, like during the Dynasty, Kiss was still popular, at least where I was from. The atmosphere was they were still popular. You could still wear a Kiss shirt, things like that. After Dynasty, going with Unmasked, The Elder, and Creatures, it sucked to be a Kiss fan in the sense that you were wrong. If you were a Kiss fan, you just sucked if you were a Kiss fan. Of course, Kiss took off the makeup, Lick It Up came out. Then the atmosphere was, well, okay, they're starting to look like bad boy rockers again. They got a heavier album, and they stopped all the clown makeup stuff. Let's just give them a chance. It was kind of that attitude. People were starting to, get a little bit back into Kiss. But by the time Animalize came out, it was okay to like Kiss again. And that was the attitude at school. That was the attitude around town. It was okay to like Kiss again. They got a great hit song on the radio, Heaven's on Fire. People started wearing Kiss T-shirts, and people started blasting Kiss music out of their cars and on the radio and things like that. So that was the atmosphere when this album came out. At least where I was from. I can't speak for other Kiss fans my age. So
yeah, I mean,
was kind of, for me, it was kind of a good.
Yeah, they fit right in with what was hot at metal at the time. I mean, they were basically considered a metal band per se at that point. And it's like I think we were saying last week. Watch the Animalize Uncensored concert. That's a perfect example. You just look at the people in the crowds, just like your typical, early to mid '80s metal fans. It's just like
right. It was okay to like Kiss again, and that's what they did with this album. So
yeah,
that's the best.
A couple comments catching up, mostly Robbie Stars. Peter's song on Psycho Circus is better than Read My Body and Nothing Can Keep Me from You. And it could fit right on the Elder album.
That would be interesting.
He also said Vinny was fired before Animalize was even recorded, so Vinny was not around. That was from Michael James Jackson's mouth himself, so that was his recollection. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
That's what he was saying.
I think if I recall correctly, I was just going to say somebody in the crowd asked him, was Vinny there at all for Animalize? And he said, I'm remembering that he was there in the beginning, but maybe not. So even Michael admitted that his memory might be faulty on that. So that,
And then he also said, Anthony, sorry about that. He said, Anthony is dead on. Animalize. Kiss was cool again.
Thank you. To my knowledge, I believe it was Vinny that said Gene had called him during the making of Animalize or before the making of Animalize and asked him about being in the band again, even though they were supposedly tired of Vinny and wanted to get rid of him, but they were struggling for a guitar player. So whatever that's worth or whatever that means.
Wow.
That could have led to some thing, yeah.
I think it was Mark Slaughter that actually said that, that quoted that from Vinny, that Vinny said Gene called him, wanted to come back in the band because they just needed that guitar player. So my thing is, as a Kiss fan, I've read 50,000 Kiss books and watched a million interviews, and sometimes I have to think about my facts. So I always say, don't quote me on that, or take it with a grain of salt. So
right.
Robbie says Vinny said it himself. So I mean, there you go. I mean, I guess it's between the two of them to duke it out.
Right. I can't imagine that at the time this was all happening, that any of them guessed that they would be asked about the finer details 20 years later, you know?
True. Speaking of Vinny, I mean, his mother just passed away recently too, so condolences to him and his family for that.
Definitely.
All right, so we're ready to get into the album here. So, of course, the first song we start off, I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. This one came in at number 2 for me this time. Another great balls to the wall opening track, similar to Exciter with Lick It Up, but I kind of lean towards this one a little more than Exciter, to be honest. To me, it's just a little more heavy once it kicks in, that little fill Eric does at the beginning, and then it just takes off, and smoking solo on there, and again, I like to say that even though Mark St. John wasn't with them that long, he definitely left his stamp on this album, and it's something no one could take away, and this is a great representation. If anyone wants to know, hey, what would Mark St. John sound like with Kiss? Bam, put this song on. There you go. You want to go next, Anthony?
Yeah, I didn't want to cut him off. I think the problem with Animalize was it has a very strong first single, which is Heaven's on Fire. It took the band to another level. Even if it wasn't that high, it still took them to that next level. But the problem with Animalize was there was no great follow-up single to Heaven's on Fire. You had a lot of rock groups in the 80s that were just doing, as you say, that 1-2 punch or that 1-2-3 punch.
Yeah.
Right had Metal Health and Come Off Feel the Noise, and Def Leppard had Rock of Ages and all the other songs. The Kiss didn't have nothing to follow up Heaven's on Fire. It was like, okay, here's our great song, and what's next? The song is worn off. So I think, the point is, I've Had Enough, Into the Fire would have been a great second single off the album, way better than Thrills in the Night.
Yeah. And
I think it's one of the best album openers of Kiss's all time. I think it's got one of the best intros of all time. When all the drums come in. I think it's the best song on the album. And I'm definitely I'm not into that Bumblebee, as Gene says, that fast guitar playing, but when Mark St. John does it, he does great at it. And I feel what he's playing. It's just not a bunch of I feel what he's playing, even though he's playing at 1,000 miles an hour. It's great. So This falls for me number two. And let me add this. I think this song would have also been great in Rocky Four as a montage.
There you go.
Totally, yeah. Yes, this actually came number one for me. I'd say this time, but I know it was number one for me last time too. Uh, I actually, after I had ranked these, I went over and looked at what I had ranked these last time we did this album episode, and I think there were only a couple things that changed. Somehow, I had managed to, without looking, almost rank it all the same. So number one for me, yes, this is just the absolute perfect album opener. Again, they were knocking it out of the park with album openers in the 80s. I love the energy and feel of the song. Mark St. John's leads are absolutely, they're frantic. They match the energy and pace of this song great. The middle section with all the drum fills going into the solo is just, I can't imagine a more perfect like pre-solo bit. And then I love the ending too. The way the song ends, it unexpected. It's cool. You don't see it coming where it happens, and suddenly, bam, we're on to Heaven's on Fire. It's just great.
Robbie said Anthony is dead on again. There wasn't a strong second single, but it loves the album as a whole.
Yeah, don't give me too much praise because I'm gonna say something you're not gonna like. You're not gonna be writing good stuff about me anymore. So.
All right, so obviously we go into Heaven's on Fire next. This one came in at number 4 this time. You know, when I think Unmasked Kiss, this is one of the songs that always pops in my head. This and Lick It Up, I always feel like, I don't know why, but I always feel like those two are kind of one and the same to me. It's just something about that time frame when I was growing up and I would hear those songs and see those videos on MTV so much together, and they just kind of have that same feel. But but Heaven's on Fire, I mean, again, it is what it is. Great video, by the way. I love you know, Eric Carr in this video. He's wearing that, like, I think it's like a some sort of like camper jacket or something from like I forget the story now, but I love that scene where all of a sudden he's hanging over Paul's shoulder with the "Baby Don't Stop, Take It to the Top." Yeah, that's such a great scene. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, there's just something about this studio version that I love, and it's like the bass is just right. Like when it kicks in, that bass is just nice and low, and it just has this great feel to it that unfortunately I feel like it never translated translated too well live either. But yeah, this is just one of my favorite. You know, even though it's number 4 on this album, it really is one of my favorite of the Unmasked era, because it's just, I always just have that kind of special feeling. You know, kind of like what we talked about last week, how certain songs give you a special feeling. This is definitely one of those.
Yeah, I give it a 6 a 6. And one thing about it, as you say, Lick It Up and Heaven's on Fire, the similarities. You're right. I've always considered these sister songs, even though to me they sound nothing alike, except the fact that the guitar solos are very basic, which is cool.
Yeah,
because they had Benny and Mark St. John shredders, and their first singles have no shredding on them. It's just really tame, basic guitar solos, which is cool. One thing about most Kiss albums is I don't listen to the singles. Well, I used to not listen to the singles like "Lick It Up," "Crazy Nights," "Tears Are Falling." I would always get past them, not because they weren't good. It was just because I just wanted to hear something else off the album.
right.
Now, as we say, your mind changes. Now I get into the singles more than ever. I play "Crazy Nights," I play "Heaven's on Fire," I play "Lick It Up," etc. more than ever. But having said that, "Heaven's on Fire" is my favorite now of all the '80s singles. I just like playing it. Not all the singles, but the main singles. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
So I love playing the song, and the video. I like the video. I remember the first time watching the video, and I still like it to this day. To me, though, it's always been a little bit of a ripoff of Van Halen's "Jump," and I always thought that's what they were going for. The visual of it, meaning Van Halen's "Jump" was just shot in a black kind of studio, wherever that was. Kiss did the same thing with "Heaven's on Fire," which is all black with some hotel shots coming in and out. Never been a big fan of never been a big fan of the hotel shots, but it's what it is. But yeah, fun video. fun song. And let me just say this: the way they dressed in that video, "Heavens on Fire," I always thought that's the way they should have dressed on their tour. Instead of the Mad Max look. I love the way they look in that video, the outfits, their hair, everything. That's how they should have dressed on tour. So I give Heavens on Fire a 6.
Okay.
Awesome.
Robbie has a quick question for Luke. He said, "Did you guys play I've Had Enough when you did your Kiss tribute band?" That Pennsylvania accent.
Yes. Not with the full makeup Kiss tribute, no. Now it's in the cards eventually for the Kiss-ish project that we've talked about a couple of times, just because I think eventually we'll go through all of the albums. Interestingly, my old original band, Right Way to Nowhere, when we discussed recording a cover album in 2011, one of our aims was to take bands everybody knows and record songs by them that basically nobody knows unless you're a hardcore fan. And my main contribution to that track listing was I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. Unfortunately, not only did that whole project, the whole cover album fell through and we only recorded 2 songs, but also basically nobody else in that band was a Kiss fan, and so they were all pretty much immediately pushing back against having to do a Kiss song at all. But yeah, this I would have loved to have done that.
Definitely.
Let me ask you a question, Eli. Do you think that's something you could play on the drums?
I've Had Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I know it by heart right now, but I'm sure I can get it down. Because that was kind of where I was at for something like Fits Like a Glove when we started doing that, when I didn't really know it by heart, but giving it a few listens, I picked it up.
Yeah, I used to back in the day. I used to listen to it and think, "Damn, Eric would just pass out if he had to play this song on live."
Yeah.
And I never really played it live until I heard some stuff on YouTube of him playing it live.
Well, did you ever see how his setup was? Like how far his hi-hat was out to the left of him? Like he was stretching his leg. Like it's a wonder he didn't have hip issues or something after every show.
Yeah, I mean, I get winded just watching the Animalize MTV concert. Literally, I get winded. I was like, wow, how the fuck is, excuse my language, how does he do that?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's Eric Carr. So there you go.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you have for Look It Up there, Luke?
Look it up.
I'm sorry. Gee, again, it's late. I'm going to bed. Bye.
Yeah.
Fire.
Okay. So 7 for me this time on this album. You know what? I 100% see why this one was the hit, and I back their decision for this to be the main single 100%. I do feel this one's just a little bit vanilla compared to the other songs on the album. Not in terms of catchiness, but just in terms of what all is going on. And also similar to Lick It Up, which I feel a lot the same way towards. I feel like the live arrangement works better for me personally than this version. Of course, I'll always prefer a studio version over a live version, but I like the things they changed about it to make it work live. I wish they had recorded it that way.
Right. So next up, we have Burn Bitch Burn. This one comes in at number 3. This is one of them songs that is another example of a song growing on you. Really, I think what helped it is what's it been now? 2 years since the last Kiss Expo. When we were at that expo and the Talisman were up there and they played this song, that's what really kind of sparked me appreciating this song more. So I guess I can kind of thank the Talisman for that. But it's cool though. I like that opening riff, and you kind of not sure what to expect right away. Then it kicks in, and of course Gene with his everybody knows the famous line in that song. It's fun. But yeah, and I think the chorus is catchy as hell, and it's just like I said, another song that's just really gained a lot of momentum for me since, especially the last time we did this album. I'm pretty positive this was not in my top 3 when we did the album last time, I think.
Yep, you are correct.
I put this at number 7 for me. Um, the great thing about this song is, number one, it's my favorite to sing along to on the album.
Mm.
And but I've always said, if there's ever a Kiss album where you couldn't understand what Gene was saying, it's Animalize. And I've read the lyrics 1,000 times, and I still don't remember what the hell he's saying when I listen to these albums. But Burn Bitch Burn, I don't care what you think of the song or if you like it or if you hate it. When that intro comes in, I mean that guitar just sucks you right in.
Mm-hmm.
So it grabs me every time, no matter what I'm doing. I'll stop and I gotta just do the guitar on that because it's just such a great opener. So yeah, I put it at number 7. That doesn't mean I don't like it. It just actually I love it. So yeah, Burn Bitch Burn. It's at 7, and I think it's a good song. It sucks. The chorus sucks. Ooh, that's just anyway. My opinion, I said this in the book. They should have slowed the song down, kept the title, and just made it more of an aggressive song, kind of like a War Machine / dance all over your face / Not for the Innocent. Burn, bitch, burn. Something. I don't know. Some more heavier, darker. It probably would have been better, but yeah.
I agree. I see what you mean there.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, this is number 5 for me, and actually, my first note is right along that same line of thought. Such a happy chorus for such a serious sentiment. Burn, bitch, burn. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
But yes, the riff in the song is absolutely killer. I do wish they had written a couple of other riffs. I noticed that riff is just about the only thing they play throughout the whole song. However, though, I think the pre-chorus between that verse riff and the actual chorus itself might just be the coolest part of the song. So neat.
The only thing that makes this do what?
Well, so what part is that again?
The pre-chorus. Yeah, it's I don't remember the lyrics in that part, but I remember at one point it goes,
I got nasty habits.
It's a fine line. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and Paul doing that little yell behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And y'all start talking about putting my log in the fireplace. That's a good line. I like it.
Yeah, I mean that's classic. Everyone loves that.
Who else had the balls to say that? You know.
Yeah.
You know what would have made this more perfect right now, Anthony, is having a grape Slurpee.
Oh yeah, right. I'm something to throw at you guys. Yeah. Luke will get that when he reads the book.
Yeah. Yes, I am eagerly awaiting my baby to stop taking up every moment.
I get that. Hey, congratulations, by the way. So.
Oh, thank you. No, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have "Get All You Can Take." This one comes in at number 7 for me. On this listen, I was kind of getting a vibe of Exciter. It was like it almost felt similar to Exciter for me on this listen. But other than that, this is just one of them songs that unfortunately I've never really been drawn too much to. But again, it's a good song, but there just wasn't too much about it that I, really sticks out for me. Even on this listen again.
For me, this lands at number 3. I think the song is great. I think it's the sister song to Keep Me Coming, not just because they say it in the song, but just the attitude, the way Paul sings it, and the attitude of the guitar. I think what they should have did was mix the guitars and the drums a little bit heavier in the mix, and that would have made it just a little better. But I think it's just a great song from the beginning. I just love Paul, the highs he's hitting. I just love his energy. And even as a kid, though, I'll say this, even as a kid, I knew this chorus. When I first heard it, I knew this chorus was different than any other chorus that they've ever done. And it was almost, I don't know, something. It was special. And I can't find the words I'm looking for, but it was something special about that chorus. It was almost like they said it fast and then purposely slowed the mix down to put it to the song. They sang it fast, and they slowed it down so it would fit to the rhythm of the chorus.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get out what I'm trying to say here, but anyway, I've always felt this chorus was just really unique. You gotta get all you take. Just something about the way that tone that they're saying it in is just. Anyway, I'm being redundant here. I love the song, so I put it at number 3.
And of course, the famous F word in here too, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. Were you the only ones who thought, oh, it sounds like F, and it's cool to say F as you're singing along to it, but they're not really saying F? Or did you? I was like that at least as a kid.
That's kind of where I'm at, because I was reading the lyrics earlier, and I'm like, it didn't even say it in the lyrics, but they could have just not printed it for whatever reason. But like I was telling Luke earlier, I'm like, on every time I hear this song, like even listening to today, I didn't catch it. So it totally got by me. But one of our other listeners brought it up, Steve McGowan. So.
Right. Yeah. I feel like they may have glossed over it as they sang it intentionally for that reason, so that they could put the F word in a song, but not have it real, like it's easy to miss, that sort of thing. Actually, again, I think this comes from that Behind the Makeup book, and I'm sure Robbie can either back me up or correct me if this is wrong. I recall reading a story about that particular lyric where they were on like a conference call where there were several of them on there discussing the lyrics for this chorus, trying to come up with that particular line. And different people were throwing out different suggestions, and nobody was happy with anything anybody put out. And it got to a point that it got really tense. And I don't remember who it was now. My brain says Eric Carr, but maybe that's wrong. Finally just gave up and said, you know what? What difference does it make? And then Paul was like, yes, yes.
That's it. That's the sound. and G was like, yeah, if we say the F word in the Kiss song, it'll sell 10 more copies. And on it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know the mindset of back then.
Robbie just said too. He said even the lyric sheet in the cassette version doesn't have it printed either. So I don't know.
Weird, very weird. So yeah, this one actually came in at number 9 for me this time. Again, I love the pre-chorus of this song as well. This is an album full of great pre-choruses I've discovered this listen through. And yeah, that chorus is so catchy, although I don't really know why they felt they needed the F word in there. It's not in any other Kiss song. They didn't use it really on stage until this period, even in between the raps between the songs, and it didn't quite feel right, especially when they continued to use it occasionally when they put the makeup back on. I don't know, maybe it's just me personally, but it didn't fit the Kiss image. Not that they needed to be kid friendly, but that they didn't really use curse words excessively in a professional manner, and so this felt strange. It felt unnecessary, and I feel like maybe they were trying to get a dangerous feel, but like Not for the Innocent achieved that way better than throwing in a random curse word. Not for sure, really, but
yeah.
Also, the other thing that kind of puts this one down for me is the guitar solo in this song. I feel like is Mark going a little bit too far into the million notes per minute thing, proving, of course, that he is an amazing guitar player, but maybe doesn't quite play exactly what the song needs every time. You know?
Yeah, it's really weird. I was watching the from the Rock and Roll Over tour. It was the one where they're at Madison Square Garden. And I was watching that the other day, and Paul drops the S word in that, and I'm like, what? He said a curse word in that 70s era? Like, that's never happened.
Yeah, very strange.
And like, not to sit here and sound like a prude, like I'm Mr. Goody Two Shoes, but it's just weird, like that early makeup era, that you just don't put that together. But yet, when they did it in the non-makeup era, it's like, oh yeah, perfect, yeah, it fits.
Yeah.
I never heard I never heard a cuss word in a 70s concert before. So
I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've actually watched that entire show. Like, I've seen clips here and there, and I ran across the tape at a flea market, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen this whole entire show. And watched it the other day, and sure enough, I'm like, what?
Actually, I take that back. Actually, the Summit, 1977, the Love Gun tour.
Mm-hmm.
After Ladies' Room, if you listen closely, you can hear Peter yelling.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's saying, "Hey, shut the fuck up, fuck." So, shut up. I don't give a damn. Get out of here. Something he's saying.
Yeah.
So I remember I had the bootleg back in the day, and I would just listen to it over and over and go, "Is that Peter? It sounds like Peter, but it might be a stagehand." You know.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff like that, but I mean that Paul like just literally on the mic says it on this show. And
Yeah, that's very different.
It was during one of his raps. I forget what, but speaking of not to get too far off subject, but speaking of that Peter thing, there was another funny one I heard. I can't remember if it was just an audio bootleg or what, but you could hear Peter again yelling at his tech. I think it was something to do with lights or something like, "Oh, these effing lights," or blah blah blah, and you can hear the like, "Calm down, man." He's like, "Don't tell me to calm down. What do you know about this?" And just going off on him.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Spotlight sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty funny.
Getting back to this song here, Robbie says the first part of the solo is Paul, and the second part is Mark St. John.
Interesting. I have to go back and listen to that again.
Yeah. Excuse me. So moving on here is Lonely is the Hunter. This is number 5 for me. The biggest thing I love about this song is that part towards the end where it does that sort of breakdown, and Eric goes to the double bass and he's doing like the double hi-hat with it, and that bum, 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 bum. Like, I know that may be an overdub as far as the hi-hat, but I could picture him, I could see it being pulled off. It's doable, but it may have been an overdub, but it's such a cool part of that song. And it's almost like it doesn't fit the song, as the song's going on, and then that part comes in, and it's just like it almost feels like you're hearing a different song all of a sudden. But that's the big payoff for me for that song there. Love that part.
Yeah, this is number 4 for me. This is one of those songs where I thought it was the dumbest song to ever appear on a Kiss album back in the day. This with Murder in High Heels. What was Lonely is the Hunter? What does that even mean? I mean, the mindset of a 9-10-year-old back in the day.
Right.
Just one day, it was playing loud. And we had to come on, and it was loud. And that rhythm guitar, that opening, and then that lead kicked in. Once that lead kicked in, I was like, this is just tight. So I played it again, and from that down, I just fell in love with it. And when I later found out that Bruce, because I'm a Bruce fan, so when I later found out that Bruce was one that played lead on it, I was like, oh, I love it even more now. So it's at number 4 for me, and I love the song to death. And like you said, that middle part, that is one of those things that seems like it wouldn't fit. But I think the idea of it seems like it wouldn't fit, but I think they just made it fit just right. It works. So I love this song.
It's almost like it's an underrated Eric Carr moment of all the of his time with Kiss. Like no one really talks about that part of that song. Like that's a pretty standout part in my opinion.
And I'll say one more thing about this song. This, including with Murder in High Heels, is these songs are the dark songs on the album for me. They're the grungier songs, not grunge rock, but just grungier as in dirty songs for me. Yeah. They're the heavier songs on the album, and I love these songs. So
yes, this one fell number 4 for me as well. And first off, weird time signatures in a Kiss song. Man, you don't hear that very often, and I love it. I love this riff because it lends itself to the 7/4 time signature without making it feel forced. This is definitely something Kiss didn't do very much. They kind of experimented it again on Rain on Carnival of Souls, the signature 7/4. But another thing that I love about that is that sometimes Eric skips that 8th beat and does the 7/4 time signature, but very occasionally, especially nearing the end of the song, he starts ignoring it. And even though the riff is in 7/4, he's just playing the straight, and so it gives the riff this totally different feel when he's now backwards to it and then comes back in on it, right? And I'm a progressive music lover, and this is one of the closest Kiss ever came to that sort of a thing. So this that idea appeals to me, and it makes that area of my brain just go absolutely nuts. Um, and also, yeah, in retrospect, to me, it's not surprising at all that this solo is Bruce. It definitely feels different than all the solos on the album prior to this song. A little
Right.
bit more melodic and a tiny bit less shreddy, and it just absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
All right, next we have, excuse me, next we have Under the Gun, number one for me. Love this song. I've always said that to me, this is Paul's answer to Fits Like a Glove. It's to me, it's got that same just energy and punch to it. God, you know, his vocal range on this, the register he's hitting, fantastic. Love that they did this on the Animalize concert. Great version on there too. Of course, you know, twice the speed, but
Right.
still a great version nonetheless. But this is one of my, like I like to say that this is one of my favorite Paul heavy songs, if you will, which, you know, I feel like there aren't a lot of throughout the whole catalog, but this is one of them, and maybe my favorite of all the heavy Paul songs. Just never gets old.
This this is number 5 for me. And I always said Under the Gun would have been a great third single off the album, following I've Had Nothing to the Fire as the second single, of course. And
Yeah.
to me, I've always wondered if this was Paul's answer to I Can't Drive 55. That album came out earlier in the year, and the single did great. Actually, but I don't know when that single actually dropped. So, but it's just something I always thought about. If it was, plotted, I think they should have dropped it, and I think it would have did great on the radio. It could have did great on the radio. I don't know if it would have got a lot of airplay, but I think following that I Can't Drive 55 single, I think it might have done something. Anyway, moving on. I love that guitar part before the solo. To me, that's one of my favorite parts of the song. I always like watching Paul play that live on the MTV Animalize concert. I like watching his fingers as he's doing that part.
Oh yeah.
I like the end where Paul is saying "Under the Gun." I mean, when Eric is saying "Under the Gun," I always assume that's Eric saying that part. But I like those guitar fills that is going in between. Under the gun. I mean, this is one of my favorite parts of the song. One thing that annoys me about this song, and I didn't realize, nothing bothered you until someone brought it up. On 3 Sides, one of the guys was saying the part where Paul says, "Let's hit the highway doing 69." I never thought much about that until, again, it was brought up, and now it does sound stupid to me every time I hear it. 69 being the innuendo, of course.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, so I gotta, whatever. So anyway,
Gene had the fireplace line, so he had to.
Yeah, 69 just meant anyway. This is at number 5 for me.
Let me ask you this: did you ever see the music video for this song that your brother told you existed?
Nope, he told me a lie. That's what my brother does. He lied to me.
That was a great little story in there.
Yeah. Anyway, well, for the record, my brother told me when we were kids that there was a video to this, and Paul was driving a Firebird, and he was singing as he was driving, and Eric Carr was in the back seat with a bunch of girls hanging on him and kissing on him and stuff. And well, my brother would just make up dumb kiss lies. I don't know why he did that, but yeah.
That's perfect.
I believe him. Bottom line.
Yes. This one came in at number 3 for me this time. This is just an absolutely outstanding quick-paced Paul song, which, again, I seem to recall him saying at some point that he's not generally a fan of really fast songs like this. So it's interesting that he has a few. I mean, Gimme More was another really quick-paced one from this era, and then this. I don't know if it's something he developed later that he didn't like. I kind of wish this one had stuck around in the live set a little longer. Very similar to Fits Like a Glove. This is another one that really lends itself to the live setting, and it lends itself to being a little bit too fast, you know. And just like you said, Eli, it being kind of the sister song to Fits Like a Glove, having those two next to each other in a set list, well, would have exhausted all of them immediately, but B, been super cool. And this is another one with one of the coolest song endings on the whole album.
Didn't we find out once that they did do those songs back to back at one point?
Yeah, I think you're right. When we were looking at like just random set lists from throughout the 80s.
Yeah. I believe it was in that Alive Forever book or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised how long they kept Fits Like a Glove in the set versus Under the Gun. I mean, because Fits Like a Glove lasted shit all the way up to what? Crazy Nights tour, right?
Yeah, they were still doing it on Crazy Nights tour, yeah.
Yeah, so
I was thinking if it was on Hot in the Shade. I don't remember it on Hot in the Shade.
Yeah, I don't think it was, because by that point, because they added so many tracks from Hot in the Shade alone, so I think that was one that unfortunately got cut because of that.
Right, I'll look that up real quick because now I'm questioning that myself.
Real quick, Robbie said that's one reason he loves Animalize too. Most of the songs have crazy cool breakdowns and time changes and off beats.
Yeah. Nope, you know what? They were still doing it on Hot in the Shade. It's on the set list for Eric's final show with them even.
No kidding. I don't.
Now I'm gonna look that up later.
Yeah, I don't feel like it was. I don't feel like it was a staple in the set. Like they may have just pulled it out here and there. So I feel like it wasn't like a permanent song. Could be wrong, but
crazy. Yeah, I'm seeing it on most of these, but this is like the end of the Hot in the Shade tour. Just kind of scrolling down.
All right. Well, next up, we'll move on to Thrills in the Night. This one comes in at number 6. Yeah, I agree. This definitely was a weaker second single. It's a cool song. I've always found it to be a little more, I don't know, like almost depressing sounding in a way, if that makes sense. But the one thing I will say is I absolutely love that little solo, that and that, I always want to say that that's a Bruce thing because he does it on the concert, but then I always have to remind myself, no, that's Mark, and that's probably my favorite thing that Mark did with his time with Kiss, and to me that says a lot. It doesn't have to be the angry bumblebees, to use that term again. It's just something more kind of melodic and excuse me, just that tone and his guitar that he's using, and then the way Bruce does it on the live, like his tone, I just always love that part. It just catches me. And but yeah, I mean, good song, and unfortunately we never got the music video that they meant to shoot for it. We got that little secondary video, but it's still one of those things that I would like to think's at the top of most of the Kiss fans' list of maybe one day we'll finally see it released or something, but who knows?
Thrills the Night for me falls at number 9. It's my least favorite song on the album, but I do like it, and it took a lot of years for me to like this song. It was definitely a big skipper for me.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the song that I have is Paul's delivery on the verse. He's too pouty, kind of the same kind of delivery he did on Magic Touch. There's a stranger that she's pushing away as she dresses. I don't know why he's singing it like that, but there it is. And then the chorus. To me, the chorus always sounds angry, dark, and it's almost elderish.
Yeah.
Almost like Under the Rose. Thrills in the night. It kind of it probably sounded good in their heads, but to me, just the execution is just not there. So I think only changes this song needs is Paul just need to sing the verse in a different tone, and same with the chorus. They should have just did the chorus in a different tone. The song would have been better. So this falls at number 9 for me.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that low voice Paul singing either.
Yeah.
Robbie said they did. Sorry, Robbie. I was just clarifying. Robbie said that they did play "Fits Like a Glove" in Hershey on the Hits tour. So there's another
Indeed. Thrill's number 2 for me, and this is another one of the many that has that kind of nostalgic bump for me. I remember hearing this song as a kid. This is one of the songs when I first started like getting into Kiss because I wanted to listen to Kiss and not just because Dad was playing it a lot when I was young. And of course, I gravitated to the non-makeup albums first because I was a huge Def Leppard nut, and so hearing that Kiss had done albums that were more in that kind of metal, early '80s metal vein, and hearing the leads on this song was one of the things that made me think, man, I have got to get better at playing lead guitar because I want to be able to play this bit. And you still find that particular variation of the scale in my solos currently. That's actually I use that as a warm up before shows, which is very primarily featured in the leads on this song. So it always catches me every time just for that. Alan Schwartzberg on Thrill. So is Eric Carr not on this song at all, Robbie? Or is this just Alan doing overdubs? That's interesting. Well, that leads nicely into my next point, which is that I feel like Eric played this a little bit better live than on the recording. Overdubbing over Eric's snare. See, I would have said that Eric didn't play snare almost at all in this song, and that's one of my issues with it. One of the reasons why I think it didn't make as good a single is that it's a little too slow, and he hardly hits the snare throughout the whole song. And the tom instead was a weird choice, I kind of feel like. But I love how catchy the chorus is, that whole thing. I'm a little surprised this one didn't catch a little better than it did. But yeah, I wonder if it's not because it's a little slow for what you'd expect coming out of Heaven's on Fire, especially.
Yeah. That's one thing about Eric too. He always had kind of a unique way of playing some stuff. Like it was kind of some unconventional type of beats, which in a good way.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead, but like Tears Are Falling. I was watching it's that one show where they're playing outdoors on the whatever tour. I want to say the Crazy Nights tour.
Right, where Paul's got the little tiny guitar.
Yeah, and man, I was watching Eric, the way he was playing Tears, and completely different from the way Eric Singer plays it. It's different from the way I play it, and it's just different. Like, and I keep studying it because part of me wants to play it more the way Eric really did play it, and instead of how it's been, I guess, kind of simplified, if you will, over the years with the different drummers. But
you know what? I remembered I was thinking this during the listen through and didn't note it. What I feel like would have worked really well on this chorus for the drums is the same or similar beat as the chorus of Heaven's on Fire, and also kind of Tears Are Falling. The
right.
That maybe would have made it flow a little better than just hitting the tom and that's it.
And that's what I mean.
Have you ever noticed how similar?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you ever noticed how similar those drum beats are on Heaven's on Fire and Tears Are Falling?
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty damn similar. So.
Yeah, Heaven's on Fire is another great example. That chorus part is so it's so unconventional, of a drum piece, because usually every chorus you hear in rock music, they're just either on the ride cymbal, hi-hat, crash. It's usually a pretty straightforward type of beat, but that was one of Eric's great qualities that brought that difference to the sound of the band. Robbie said the original chorus was all snare, but then Alan overdubbed that part. That's really odd, but it works.
Very strange. Look at that. Michael James Jackson produces Creatures and Lick It Up, and Eric is the only one who played drums. No weird extra drummers, no overdubs. And then he's gone, and then here we got, call in another guy.
I'll say this about the 80s albums. Animalize is my favorite drum sound of the 80s albums.
Yeah, it's
I love the way the tom sound, and I love the way the hi-hat sound and the cymbals. So I think it's just a good sound for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially that part on Lonely as the Hunter. That's one reason that cuts through so well.
Yeah.
While the City Sleeps comes in at number 8 for me. Um, Another one that just doesn't do much for me, and I really felt like, believe when I was listening to this, I felt like Eric should have sang this song. Um, again, it's like he should have gotten a track on each album, not just hits. But I felt like this would have been a song that he should have sang, and that's one reason it comes in short for me. I just felt like he should have had this.
For me, this falls at number 8. This used to be my favorite song on the album. And I still love the song. I always assume that's Eric on the chorus saying "While the City Sleeps." It just sounds like him to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Gene's delivery. I love the drums. As Luke said, the prelude to the choruses, "Burn your bridges, take what you can get." I mean, this is one of those songs that just the prelude is just great. Yeah, falls at number 8 for me.
Awesome. Yeah, this one actually came in at number 6 for me this time. This one it climbed up the list a little bit. I think I was ready to put this one and Murder as the last, 8 and 9. And, I'll be, as I'm listening here, I'm like, you know what? I am really not being fair to either of these songs. You hear people all the time talk about how Gene got real lazy in the 80s and just did nothing but toss throwaway songs. And I think these are two of the ones that people normally put on that throwaway list. Nah, man, this While the City Sleeps, another great riff. I get it stuck in my head all the time. And it just, this particular listen through caught me and I couldn't look away. And in typical Gene fashion for this album, again, that killer pre-chorus hits. And it makes me feel like this one is a bit underrated. I mean, it's definitely not on like a God of Thunder or Calling Dr. Love level, but this doesn't at all feel to me like a Gene throwaway song.
Yeah, Gene's got a lot of happy accidents on this album, and that's how I look at it. Initially, I'm probably on an initial hearing. That's a whole different discussion. I was going to say these songs are no worse than anything he's done in the past. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that right now. Yeah, it's a great song. That's all I can say.
Yes.
Not going to beat it up.
Well, Luke, you didn't do it, but I did. Murder in High Heels, number 9 for me. Let me just clarify that no, I don't think these are horrible Gene songs. There's definitely ones that I would put, at the top of the list before these. It's just where it happened to come in on this listen. And one of the main things that did it for me is I just did not like that this was the last song on the album. It just didn't feel like a good album closer. It almost felt like as if there was meant to be another song to come after this, and then for whatever reason there wasn't, and the album just ended the way it is. Again, we get that nine song album, which always irks me for some reason. Just give us that one more. But yeah, that's really the main reason. And yeah, it's by no means, I'm not saying that they're horrible Gene songs. It's just where I felt this time.
Yeah, for me, Murder in High Heels is number 1. It was one of those tracks where, again, as a kid, teenager, I just thought it was just one of the dumbest songs they were made. And why did they put this on the album? And why is the title called Murder in High Heels? It's just stupid. And what bothered me the most was the just murder in high heels. I'm like, that's it? That's all you're going to do on the chorus? Nothing else? And again, just like Lonely's the Hunter, it was just playing one day, and that riff hit me, ow, 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 and that drum, and the drums were just clean, and just that beat was hitting, and that riff, and it's just like, let me play this again. And it just clicked. There it is, and then I just fell in love with it. So it's my number 1 on the album, and it's just one of my favorite Gene songs of all time. It's dark, again, like Lonely's the Hunter. It's dark. It's not as gritty or grungy as Lonely's the Hunter, but it's definitely there. yeah, I love this song. So it's number one for me on Animalize. That could change a year from now, but it's been like that for a few years. And I don't think it's going anywhere.
Nice. Yes, this one came in at number 8 for me this time, and I think very similar to Eli. I think it was to do with the fact that it was the last track. Yeah, I really, we've made our feelings pretty clear throughout the whole show about albums ending with a fade out. Why? You know, I just feel like they should have flipped these. Put While the City Sleeps at the end would have been fine. That one does a fade out, has a clear ending. However, Eric Carr proving here 100% he can do a Peter Criss swing beat, no problem. I love that, the hi-hat, as opposed to, you know what I mean? It just absolutely perfect feel. No other song on this album has that feel. And I love what Eric does throughout the song. The main riff, super catchy. I like the chorus riff, but I don't know that it necessarily should have been the chorus riff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still a good riff. I feel like maybe they could have done something a little different with that, and maybe come up with some other lyrics besides the title of the song. You know, but again, clearly a Bruce solo in retrospect. This one, more than Lonely as the Hunter, is more in Mark's style. Uh-oh, we lost Anthony. But this is more controlled and melodic, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say they could have put Under the Gun as the last track on the album, and that would have been a great closer, especially the way that one ends. And
that would have pumped people to the point that they couldn't have just stopped there.
Exactly, because talk about a song that would make you immediately want to just start the album over. You know, with the energy of that song, it's like, yeah, I gotta put
more.
Robbie had said that here he's coming back. Robbie said lots of 80s Gene songs have aged better than Paul's 80s songs. That's a fact. Hey, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All right, cool. He also says Murder in High Heels is a groovin' rockin' tune and it's totally underrated. I was saying Under the Gun could have been a great album closer too. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, it works. It works as an opener for side 2 and as a closer. So yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
All right. So as far as an overall ranking, I give this one a 6. And again, it comes down to the 9-track album. That really irks me. It's like, give us 10 at least. I hate, turning the record over and there's only 4 songs on a whole side. Other than that, like I said, this album does hold a special place with me. I mean, relating it to the Animalize Uncensored concert, again, to go back and sound like a broken record from the past, but this was like probably the first video footage that I saw of Kiss in concert was this Animalize show. My dad had recorded it on the original airing off MTV, and I could still picture that MTV bumper that plays before it, and then all of a sudden you hear that doom, 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 boom, 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 like how the thing starts, and it's just ingrained in my head forever, and that's just always been a reason that I kind of have that little special bond with this album in this time frame, because I feel like this is really when I was at that age of really knowing who Kiss was, not just listening to the music, and really like, okay, here's the band. And by the way, I'm like, where's the makeup? And oh, they took it off. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, it was a special time, and I just love that concert, and goes right along with this album, and just one of them things that I can watch hundreds of times, just like many other Kiss related things, or listen to, and it just never gets old. It's like, I always like to say, it's like a fine wine. It just gets better with age, and every time you watch it or listen to it, whatever it is, it's just better and better every time. I still get the same kind of goosebumps I did then as and I get them now. So it'll never change.
I think Animalize has aged really well.
Yeah.
And I think it's I think the only thing that really hurts Animalize is Burn Bitch Burn. I think every other song on here is solid. I think they're great. Um, like any Kiss song, they might have something you need to tweak here or there, or take something out, blah blah blah. But overall, they're just great songs, and I think it's aged well. Um, Years ago, I would have gave this a 6. I would have been right there with you. But today, and I don't want to be too generous, but I think it holds 8.5, pushing a 9. I wouldn't have said that years ago, but now, yeah, definitely. Because years ago, I'd say Gene's songs suck. Paul's songs are great on this album, but now I don't feel that way. Like I said, Gene's songs are just, as the years went on, they just really grew on me, and they're just great.
Yeah.
Minus Burn Bitch Burn. So, and I agree with you. To me, Animalize MTV Unplugged, MTV Concert, that's my favorite Kiss concert of all time. I watched it a million times. I never get tired of watching it. As a matter of fact, I watched it a couple of days ago on my phone, and just that whole Animalized era has a special place for me as a kid growing up. I remember everything that was going on in the magazines, Kiss being on the magazine covers and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's a special place in my heart for Animalized era. So,
Yeah,
I'm gonna give this 8.5.
I watched a couple.
Awesome.
I watched a couple songs from that Animalize concert the other night, and my wife was sitting in, and she goes, "Did Gene think he looked cool then, or something?" And I'm like, I always thought his hair looked cool in that concert. I know a lot of people give him crap on that, but I always thought it looked good. And I like that look, and that vest thing that he wears. Like, hell, the guy that makes those replica costumes now even makes a replica of that vest that he wore in that concert. So
That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I've always
Yeah,
liked that
I used to watch that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I never caught that it was a wig until someone pointed it out, and now I can tell. But yeah, I still don't think it looks. I'm not like, geez, Gene, really?
I thought it was a great, like, alternate look from what we knew with the tied up poof from the makeup era. It was a cool new look, not the same Gene.
Yeah, I used to watch that, and I used to wonder why Gene's hair was so stiff. Because back in those days, I didn't know nothing about wigs and hair plugs that Kiss was wearing. But I always noticed Gene's hair was so stiff; it didn't move.
Yeah.
And Paul and everyone else is sweating, but Gene's is just stiff. But yeah, we know now. We're adults now, so.
Yeah, and then come to find out that was like the second night that Bruce was with the band. On top of that, and his performance in there is just amazing.
Yeah, that guitar solo he does on "Fits Like a Glove." Yeah, I love that. I keep rewinding that part over and over.
Yeah, that's my favorite version of "Fits Like a Glove" is that version on there. Oh man, yeah. Chuck Hoskins says he wore out the Animalize VHS. Yeah, I feel you.
Yep.
Let's go get a beer. I don't drink, but let's go get a beer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You know what? I went ahead and gave this 9. I came really close to making it 10 even, because this album and Asylum are the breakthrough ones for me. This is what I alluded to earlier and I've talked about on the show before. When I first started listening to Kiss because I wanted to listen to Kiss and gravitated towards these sort of albums, it was Animalize and Asylum that caught me and hooked me and made me go listen to everything else too and really, really analyze. And I wanted to only give one of them 10. I think I'm giving away my ranking for next week. And I think it's Bruce that makes that difference, if I'm being honest. But yes, this remains one of my favorite all-time Kiss albums. I think the production is absolutely spot on. The drums, yet again, they take the sound that was established on Creatures, they improved it just a little bit for Lick It Up, and I think they improved them again. I love the slightly more defined bass drum sound. Still has that nice big boom, but it has a really defined click. You can tell every time he hits the bass drum, you can hear it. They kept the huge snare and toms, and it fits. That was just Eric. And that was Eric Carr all the way to the max. The huge drums, and they were able to translate that onto these recordings in a way that, as we know, the Elder really flatly failed to do. The guitars are super heavy. The leads have just enough of a different tone to pop out in front of the mix without covering what's going on behind it. I do feel like the bass could be turned up a little more just in general, but also it's not so quiet that it's a deal breaker either. I don't sit here the whole time thinking, oh, where's the bass? This album also sees them continuing into the heavy metal territory, which is, of course, my favorite era of theirs. And I think all the songs on this album are stronger than most people give them credit for. When I hear people talk bad about this album, it's always, oh, those songs sucked. Nah, maybe they just weren't your thing, you know? But it may not be full of instant hits like Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun in the debut, but I think the songs still stand up as being interesting and catchy. At least for me, I gravitate towards this stuff. I really enjoy Mark St. John's leads throughout the whole album too. You know, he brings a more traditional shred as compared to Vinny. Vinny shredded, but he had all these weird scales and note choices, and sure, you know, nobody will ever play like Vinny because of that. But Mark brought that more traditional shred, still keeping that shred element, but a little bit more normal. And I'm glad for his contributions to this album, but similar to what I talked about last week with Vinny, I'm kind of glad this is the only album he's on. I feel like what he did would have gotten old a little too quick. I feel like Vinny, when they played live, he would have just said to hell with Ace's solos and played his own thing, and it would have been a little bit too much like Vinny's were. I feel like too few of his solos are memorable. I don't find myself humming Mark St. John solos other than maybe Thrills in the Night and Heaven's on Fire, of course. But yeah, I think maybe he went a little too shreddy. Do what?
Let me say something, what you just said. I agree with you. I don't find myself humming Mark St. John solo. It's like one of those things, I don't hum to them, but when I hear them, I love them.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't hum. They're not memorable in the sense of humming, though. So that's interesting that you bring that up.
Definitely. Yeah, that's and I'm a huge nut. You know, one of the things that drew me to Def Leppard was Phil Collins' super fast guitar playing. So I think that was one of the reasons I started with Animalize, was because Dad had told me, oh, you know, there for a while in the 80s, Kiss had guitarists that were just absolutely nuts, and I wanted to hear anything that I could get my hands on that had somebody playing super fast. So naturally, this album, I was like, holy crap, how is that guy doing that? Yeah, I think the only other like tiny thing I would pick on for this album is how often the choruses of the songs are just the title of the song sang over and over with scat vocals in between. It doesn't actively bother me, but I do kind of feel like maybe they could have picked something else. It's a good way to get the audience to sing along, which maybe is what they were going for, but that's not always the best for the song itself either. But I guess it depends on what you're aiming at. So yeah, overall, this is and always will be one of my go-to Kiss albums for myself. I don't know if I'd hand this to somebody that had never listened to Kiss before as their first Kiss album, but for me, it's top of the line.
Yeah, maybe a good representation of the non-makeup era. I mean, that's debatable too, because I mean, Lick It Up's great, and Asylum. I mean, they're all great. But
right.
That's what I'd do. I'd hand them the whole discography. Here, sit and listen to
it. Yeah, you just got to do the whole thing straight across.
Write me an essay on every album.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, I think Kiss has gone so far as to their style with, you know, light rock in the early days, or classic rock, however you want to put that, to the disco-y stuff, and then the grungy Carnival of Souls and the metal stuff here, the proggy Elder. They have covered so much, to get a full idea of what Kiss does. You have to listen to it all. You have to. Yeah. They're not a band that stays the same from album to album.
I mean, even the Wicked Lester stuff was like, you know, sort of like psyche in a way, and a little bit of folk here and there. I mean, it was just all kinds of elements, you know. And they've definitely covered just about everything. You know, Paul.
And I've always said that's one of the things that makes I always say Lick It Up is my favorite Kiss album. But if every Kiss album sounded like Lick It Up, I'd be bored.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I need the Elder just like I. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go. I was just agreeing. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's why I need the Elder just as much as I need Lick It Up. I need Peter's solo album just as much as I need Creatures, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So Kiss just has. I mean, I'd be bored with it. I would have been done with it a long time ago. But just the fact that they have so much different music and stuff in their catalog. And as you say, if you want to turn a fan on to Kiss music, what album would you give them? Well, it depends on who you're talking to. If it was a rock fan, a hardcore rock fan, here's Creatures, here's Lick It Up, here's Rock and Roll Over. If it's my ex-girlfriend, or here's here's the forever single. Here's the reason to live single.
Yeah.
Different people like different things, and they're gonna. I mean, I've had, like I say in the book, I've had a girlfriend who just loves Shandy. She thought it was the greatest song ever, and went on about the tape just because of that. She heard it. And Kiss just has so much different music in their catalog, and I don't know. It's been a long day for me. I'm starting to get tired. I'm being a monster trying to stay awake.
My best friend Justin, all throughout high school, he was one of the ones in Right Way to Nowhere that hated Kiss. I mean, he wouldn't listen to them, couldn't stand them, didn't like that I liked them. And then one day I burned him Carnival of Souls. That he was a Metallica head. I mean, just that was all he loved, Metallica or nothing. I burned him Carnival of Souls and gave it to him, and I didn't tell him what it was. He came back to me and he's like, "Holy crap, man! This stuff is great. Who is this?" I'm like, "Freaking Kiss, man." Like, calm down a little bit.
Yeah,
he still doesn't like
yeah,
it, but he still listens to that album a lot.
And kind of similar. I had a friend that, again, I didn't have really any friends that were into Kiss really, and here comes one of my friends showing me Carnival of Souls before I had even heard of it or any of it, and he's like, "Man, this is a great album, blah blah blah, it's kind of heavy and blah blah blah, check it out." And I'm like, okay. It felt kind of weird, like here you are introducing a Kiss album to me, and I'm like the diehard fan here, but
yeah.
All right, so let's get into our next segment here, and then we'll start wrapping it up. Time for the True Confessions. All right, True Confession time. Luke, you want to start us off?
Absolutely, yes. This it builds a little bit on a point I made earlier. As I said before, I don't at all dislike Mark St. John's contributions to this album. I mean, not even a little bit. I love what he did, and I'm glad it's there. I have to say, though, I'd be really interested to hear what would have happened if they had skipped Mark and went straight to Bruce. We know that was a possibility because he was there enough to play songs on this album. I really like the solos he played on this album. I like what he did with the Animalize songs on the Uncensored concert. I just feel like his leads are more melodic and memorable. When he plays an Ace solo, he puts his spin on it, but it still puts you in the mind of the original.
Right.
Unlike Vinny, who just to the wind with Ace's stuff. I'm going to play my own thing. And I feel like Bruce is such an amazing middle ground because he can still do the crazy fast intricate stuff that Mark does, but I feel like he has a better feel than both Vinny and Mark for where and how often a song ought to have it, and it makes him, at least in my opinion, he's my favorite Kiss lead guitarist. So I'd be curious to hear what would have happened had they had Bruce instead of Mark for this.
Anthony, go ahead.
My true confession is I've never considered Mark St. John a member of Kiss. And to me, in essence, he was just a studio musician that played on a Kiss album. I understand that he was under contract. I get all that. And he was in the Heavens on Fire video. According to Paul's book, he never played live with Kiss. And I know there's photos out there that shows him on stage. I've always questioned if those were just dress rehearsals they were doing. I've heard mixed stories. Paul said in his book he never played live. Other people, other stories have said he did play live, or he played half the show and then Bruce came and played the other half. So I don't know. I don't know because I wasn't there, so I really don't know. But anyway, I just never considered him a member of Kiss. I consider Anton Fig more of a member of Kiss than Mark St. John. Even Bob Killick.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think he was the right guy in that moment for that album. I agree with Luke when he says, what would it sound like if Bruce had played on that album? It would have been great. It would have been awesome. But in this case, we just had Mark St. John. He did a great job, but to me, he's just never been a member of Kiss.
Yeah, there's like audio concerts out there that again at least claim that it's one of the shows that he played on. Um, so yeah, that kind of ties in with mine. I was going to say I wish we had, a good, proper, at least one show that he played with them, video of that whole show, like we have with so many other shows out there. Would have been nice just to at least have that one, you know, moment to be like, here's a show with Mark St. John, just to kind of, for whatever reason, if you feel like you want to watch a show with, each lineup that they've had or something like that, there'd be one. But again, I guess, it's kind of debatable, I guess, but unless you were one of those people that were there and could say for sure, or actually show like pictures of the actual live show and not just like a dress rehearsal or sound check or something. I don't know, but yeah, so I do agree with what you were saying, Anthony. Is like I do consider Anton Fig more of a member than what Mark was, but I do appreciate his time in the band, and albeit short, but again, he definitely left a stamp on it, and it is what it is, and so yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear. I need to find one of those because I'm pretty sure they're on YouTube, aren't they? Audio
Yeah.
where it's supposedly him. I want to hear how he plays some of the older songs because my suspicion is that, like Vinny, he would say, "To hell with what Ace played. I'm just going to do my thing."
I want to say I have one of them, but I can't remember.
I tell you what, Luke, you're a smart guy, and you're a guitar player, and if you find some audio that's supposed to be Mark, and if you say it's Mark, I'll take your word for it. Seriously.
Absolutely. I feel like at least if it were either Mark or Bruce, I feel like I'd be able to tell the difference. But yeah. I definitely want to hear it and see.
Definitely. All right, we ready with the final tallies here?
Yeah, yes we are.
And also, you guys in the chat, if you guys got a true confession, let us hear it.
Absolutely. All right, so you guys, this definitely check out next week too if you weren't already planning to. I have a feeling these rankings may change a little because we got a couple of regulars that normally submit votes that didn't this time but said they're going to. So we'll see how this plays out. But for right now, what we've got, of course, you guys have seen the three of us here, all of our rankings. In addition to that, we are counting votes from Steve McGowan, who gave this album a 7 out of 10. His top three were Thrills in the Night, Heaven's on Fire, and I've Had Enough Into the Fire. He also wanted us to know that Lonely is the Hunter is an absolutely terrible song and he hates it for some reason. He dislikes the lyrics in it based on his message to us. We're waiting on votes from Savannah, our normal third co-host, and also Steve's sister-in-law, Rochelle, who normally gives us votes. She hasn't gotten to it yet today. We've also got Robbie Starr's votes, which we got in the comments of the last video. That is on here. He gave this a 9.5 out of 10, and his top three were Heaven's on Fire, While the City Sleeps, and I've Had Enough Into the Fire. My votes from last time we did this, I gave this an 8. My top three were Lonely is the Hunter, Thrills in the Night, and I've Had Enough Into the Fire. Eli's from last time, you gave this a 6. Your top three were Under the Gun, Thrills in the Night, and Heaven's on Fire. My dad's from last time, he gave this a 6.5. Top three, Lonely is the Hunter, I've Had Enough Into the Fire, and Heaven's on Fire. We got Steve McGowan's from last time. He gave this a 7 that time, and his top three were Get All You Can Take, I've Had Enough Into the Fire, and Heaven's on Fire. We got my younger brother Sam's from the original 4K. His top three, Thrills in the Night, Under the Gun, and Heaven's on Fire. Savannah's from the original 4K. Her top three, Heaven's on Fire, I've Had Enough, and Thrills in the Night. My younger sister Magenica's from the original 4K. Her top three, I've Had Enough, Thrills in the Night, Heaven's on Fire. We got Robbie Starr's Perfect 10 from last time we did this episode. Jay Rucker, who gave this an 8.5, and his top three, Under the Gun, Thrills in the Night, and I've Had Enough Into the Fire. Starting to see a trend with that one, aren't we? Jay's niece also gave us an 8 out of 10 for this. We're counting votes from a commenter from last time, Chief Broken Arrow, whose top three were Under the Gun, Heaven's on Fire, and I've Had Enough. We've got Rochelle McGowan's votes from last time. She gave this a 5 overall, and her top 3 were While the City Sleeps, Thrills in the Night, and Heaven's on Fire. We got a 7.5 from Jacob Hicks and a 7 from Gianni Ottaviani. Also from Rain in Adamstown last time, he gave this a 9 out of 10, and his top 3 were I've Had Enough, While the City Sleeps, and Heaven's on Fire. He's another one I imagine we'll get votes from on the comments of this video. He normally gives us that. So put all that together, and we get this, what we got now. This album ended up with a 7.7 average out of 10. Pretty high up on the list. That puts it mid-ground. Just below Alive 2, actually, and just above I Unmasked and the Paul Stanley solo album, right below Dress to Kill. Actually, it's between Hotter Than Hell and Dress to Kill.
Oh, wow.
So in 9th place for this time around, we've got Murder in High Heels. In 8th place, While the City Sleeps. In 7th place, Get All You Can Take. In 6th place, Burn Bitch Burn. In 5th place, Lonely is the Hunter. And our top 4 for this week: in 4th place, Under the Gun. In 3rd place, Thrills in the Night. In 2nd place, Heaven's on Fire. And of course, in 1st place, I've Had Enough, Into the Fire.
We have a true confession from Robbie. He said, Animalize is the most unique album in their catalog thanks to St. John's style of playing. He also said there is audio of St. John from one of their first shows on the tour. It's on YouTube. I did just look that up and found it.
Sweet.
Baltimore, Maryland. They have the first show, and then I also saw one that is supposedly his last show.
And that last one was the one he only played half of, supposedly, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it 2 full shows and then a half?
Right. And on this particular show, they do Fits Like a Glove, then Heaven's on Fire, and then Under the Gun.
Interesting.
And then War Machine and Young and Wasted. Like, God, what a freaking set list, man.
Yeah. I deeply regret that I was not alive yet.
What I'm wondering is, I never looked this up, but now that we're on the subject, if there's any more demos out there from Animalize that Mark made, or just demos in general, and plus that Mark definitely played on, did some guitar work on. So I'm going to look that up later on tonight. I'm curious to find out.
Yeah,
absolutely. There was a story that I had read too. I think again it comes from that Behind the Mask book where Mark St. John mentions that he and one of the engineers, I think, just went absolutely nuts on the songs on this album, just filling it with all sorts of guitar parts, this and that and this and everywhere, and just absolutely full. And Paul heard it and said, no, absolutely not, and deleted every bit of it. And I've often wondered if any of that existed anywhere.
Now, of course, the recordings of these 2 shows aren't exactly the greatest. They sound like someone just had a tape recorder in the crowd. So hopefully you can still decipher, whether it is him or Bruce. But
right.
Just going by one of these comments that I see on one of the videos, the guy says when he plays, it sounds like he can't hear what song the band is playing. He's in the right key, but his notes have no relationship to the rhythm of the tune.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of people were saying he just didn't fit with them that well, which is kind of the general consensus, I guess.
Well, he's...
And like Paul said he had a problem playing the same thing twice. So
right.
I'm curious how that went over live.
He definitely played the Detroit Rock City solo right, but I mean, how could you not? It's a double solo.
Right.
He wouldn't have had freedom to do whatever he wanted. Here's Cold Gin. I'm going to see if I can find anything. Yeah, it is hard to tell. You can't hear it very clearly. I'm going to jump over to Love Gun, and that's got more of a defined solo. Oh, come on. Where's the solo? Paul's voice here. He is exemplifying why he has trouble singing now.
Anthony, do you happen to have? It's a collection called History, like demos and everything. It's like a whole bunch of different folders.
No.
I'll have to try to get you that because I was just looking, and there's one of the folders on here. Like the whole thing is pretty much all Animalize demos and overdubs and things like that. A lot of interesting stuff.
This is on YouTube?
No, it's a thing that's floating around online. Found it a while back, downloaded it.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine you could probably find like individual audio tracks on YouTube that people's uploaded, but as far as the whole collection, I'd have to get a copy to you.
Yeah, please send me that link.
Yeah.
Okay, so two interesting things based on that. First, I'm fairly confident that was not Bruce. But also it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was not at all what Ace did, but it wasn't just him the whole time.
Yeah.
And he did do the I don't know how else to explain it. That thing. He did. Yeah, he did that straight on. So interesting.
So it wasn't like Vinny playing Dr. Love on Rio '83.
Yeah, that's exactly the solo I think of every time I mention that Vinny said to hell with what Ace did.
Same here. Drives me nuts.
Hey, I actually love those Vinny solos on that Rio tour. I think there's nothing about him I don't like. I just love the way those solos sound. Yeah, they're different from Ace's and they're fast, but something about Vinny just kills it. I mean, I just love those damn solos.
Oh, yeah.
The creature solo.
Yeah. See, I used to very occasionally, when we would play Dr. Love with Sweet Pain live, I would play the ending of Vinny's solo from that Rio. I knew that not a freaking person in the audience would catch that, but I thought it was kind of funny. You know?
All right, so that wraps up Animalize then for this week. Next week, of course, will be Asylum. Make sure you get all your votes in for that. So, Anthony, man, we want to thank you again for being on. I don't want to hold you up here much longer. I'm sure you're getting tired of holding your phone up.
No, I appreciate being on the show, and thank you guys for having me. And
yeah,
I look forward to coming back, and I'll be better prepared next time.
Yeah, we'd definitely like to have you back, and
absolutely.
You know, tell everybody that where they can find your book. They definitely need to pick it up.
Amazon, you can find it on Amazon, ebook or soft cover, and I guarantee you'll love it, and it'll bring back a lot of memories. And yeah, I'm not tooting my own horn, but yeah, you'll definitely love it.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I'm just about finished with it, but it's definitely been an entertaining and fun read. And like I said, I found myself kind of feeling some similarities there with certain viewpoints. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's what it is. So, Robbie said this was an awesome episode. Your guest star Anthony was a treat and was a perfect fit on the show. Rock on.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. I look forward to coming back and talking some more Kiss with you guys. So definitely, let me know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Get in touch. Let me know. We'll work it out. So,
all right, guys. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy.
You too, man.
Later. All right, cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, Anthony. We'll definitely have him back on in the future, and definitely do more talking. Get into some of the stuff in his book a lot more. There's just so many cool little tidbits that it's fun to talk about. Little funny stories that he tells throughout the book and whatnot. So
absolutely. We've been hitting it out of the park with guest stars this run, man. I love having Chris on. I love Anthony on. Yeah. This has been great.
Yeah. I mean, it just adds to it. like you guys in the chat with your interaction makes it fun as hell. And then whenever we can have an extra person on with us too, it just adds that much more to it. And yeah, matter of fact, Chuck Hoskins was hanging out in the chat. He's going to be on with us next week for Asylum, so that's going to be cool. Asylum is definitely one of them albums that has become I'd say a favorite of mine. I'll talk more about that next week, but it's definitely grown on me over the years. Let's see. I think that wraps it up. I don't think we have anything else to talk about. Well, at the beginning of the show, you guys in the chat may not have been here, but we were discussing the Paul Stanley Soul Station stuff. If you guys want to give us your quick thoughts and input on that before we get out of here, I'm curious to hear that. But otherwise, that's about it.
Absolutely. And thanks to Aaron Philpott for sharing that into our group. That was great because I didn't even realize that there was one dropping. So that was awesome.
Just all of a sudden it was like Facebook was blown up with promotion for the Paul Stanley Soul Station. Even Kiss themselves were promoting it, of course. And
yeah,
I think it was on the website. You were taking the pre-orders and all that. So pretty cool. All right. Well, we're just going to go ahead and get out of here then. It's getting late. We appreciate you guys hanging with us on this special late edition of the show. Who knows? We may or may not do something like this in the future, but we'll be back to our normal time next week. And again, for the Asylum episode, we'll have a special guest, Chuck Hoskins, with us. And so be on the lookout for the post for that to remind you guys, and make sure you get your votes in on these polls because we're literally about to wrap this one up, and right around the corner we'll be starting up a new one, so we'll give you all the 411 on that. So all righty guys, so until next week, we'll see you for Asylum. Get the votes in, please keep spreading the word, and we appreciate everything you guys do. So
go change that diaper. Yeah. You aren't kidding, man. He crapped all the way up his back earlier, so I'm good on diapers for a minute. If he can just go ahead and hold all bodily functions for a little while, I'm good with that.
There you go. Yeah.
He is actually for the first time. He's been hanging out here, so he's been here in the room with us for the whole podcast. As you can see, he is not ready to wake up.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
All right, guys. Take it easy. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.